And New York police departments will be adequately funded to protect the people of our state. This will include holding responsible any district attorney in the state who refuse to protect New Yorkers from crime, regardless of party affiliation. Number 3, I pledge to sponsor or co-sponsor legislation to support parental rights over our children and make all mandates illegal in New York State. Mask and medical mandates on our adults and children will no longer exist now or in the future. No more destroying our jobs and economy based on now provable, unsupported science. Number 4, I pledge to support current legislation in Albany that calls for voter ID. 88% of Americans agree and want voter ID, and so do New Yorkers. I will also sponsor or co-sponsor a bill to clean our voter rolls. We must have voter integrity in our elections or our republic will die. You gotta flip them to that page to put your answers. Number 5, I pledge to support all efforts to stop all wasteful spending in every budget category. No more political payoffs and backdoor deals plaguing our state. The it's supposed to be $37 billion budget is destroying all New Yorkers. Number 6, I pledge to support all efforts to clean house in our Department of Education and Department of Health. Parents in New York State have the right to determine what their children are taught and their gender. No more hidden political agendas by the left, including the teachers union. Keep your hands off our children. Number 7, I pledge to support the use of New York's abundant resources. High energy costs are the leading cause of inflation, and transportation in our supply chain is the main reason for outrageous increases. Using these resources will create thousands of high-paying jobs in our upstate region and billions of dollars in state revenues to fund the legitimate services New Yorkers deserve. And then the last question is, would you vote for a candidate, regardless of party, if they put down in writing what they pledge to do if you vote for them? All right, now basically, that's it. And what we're doing with all this, I'm having this done statewide. And then we'll, we'll look at all the results that we got down. If we have to change anything, we'll change anything. If we see a trend towards people wanting different verbiage or some things of that nature, we'll do that. But we have to give a message to get people out to vote. That's the only way we're going to get Republicans out to vote. We need people that could become committeemen, all right? That's vitally important. Just a number, New York City has the availability of 2,900 committeemen that they could have. They have 520, all right? So they have 20% of the committeemen that they're eligible to have. And just so everybody understands what a committeeman can do and the responsibility of them is that you have the local election district that each committeeman has a certain number of, committee people based on that election district. And the purpose of this is when it was designed is that that's coming from the grassroots, from your neighborhood. And then you have a right as a committeeman to go to the committee for the county and vote for who you want as a candidate and any other action that the party is going to take. We have gotten completely away from that, all right? We have our party leaders that decide what they want to do, and that's all there is to it. That's not how this is supposed to work, all right? And that's why, in my opinion, and our opinion, is that we don't have participation from Republicans because they feel they don't have a say. They don't know what the message is. They have no say in the matter. That has to change. And Project Civica, that's what we're working on statewide. Now, We're doing what we can for this election, but believe me, moving forward, we're going to really be pushing on all these different components, because as Glenn so rightly said, we're falling apart. And if we don't get involved and we do not start participating, every individual, we're done. This election cycle, in my opinion, if we don't make a change, we are done. Now, having Trump come in, we're involved with the RNC, Project Civica and so forth. I got 2 of my board members right now at a meeting planning for Thursday with the RNC as far as we're going to be doing registration drives. So Project Civica also will be a clearinghouse for all that information. So how it would work is anything that we're putting out, like we have a meeting every Sunday night, all right? And anybody here, these could go on to projectcivica.org, ask for information, you know, click the button to get information, stay informed, and you'll be giving the link to the meetings on Sunday night. Otherwise, what we're doing with all the clubs is anything that we're sending out, we're going to send to Glenn or the other presidents of all the clubs. We need to organize. We need a structure in place to actually bring all our resources together. And that's what Project Civica is all about. So anybody that wants to come on tonight's meeting, you're more than welcome. Just click that information button, and I'll make sure that anybody that signs up this afternoon or whatever, we'll send you a link, and you can hear all the stuff that we're doing all around the state. But Thursday's a big day. If Trump puts the effort in here in New York, and we work with the common sense contract with New York, I could see Trump. And in fact, I have people with the RNC right now that's handing this over to them. And hopefully we'll see Trump say he loves the common sense contract with New York. And that'll bring people out. That'll bring people out. But it doesn't matter if we win the state. For Trump, if we don't take over the legislature, it's irrelevant. The president's not much he can do for us. So everybody's got to keep that in mind. It's not just about Trump. It's about our state races. And we have 36 seats that we don't have challenges in. So the rest of the seats, we have to make sure we win all those races. So that's about it for me. If you could just take everything back. Any questions for me? Yeah.
When I was a kid 60 years ago, the TV was flooded with public service announcements, PSAs. And these public service announcements included views on important issues. And according to the fairness doctrine in media, both ends of the political spectrum could be...
It's a requirement by law.
According to fairness doctrine, both ends of the political spectrum could be reflected. My question to you is, has your organization made any effort to produce and broadcast PSAs?
No, we have not, because they're hard to be able to get on, all right? Because so I can't talk about New York specifically. I'll just tell you an example that we had up in the Buffalo area just for they had a special election the other day. If they don't advertise the Democrat, then they won't advertise the Republican. So how they get around it, they don't advertise the Democrat. Then they don't have to advertise the Republican.
When you use the verb advertise, are you talking about PSAs or are you talking about paid advertisements?
Well, see, okay, so paid advertisement is our main issue, right? It's the main thing, how we're going to get it out. You're talking about PSA on specific issues.
Which are free.
Specific issues,
yes.
Right? But you have to get the media organization to give them to you. And it's not as easy.
And if they don't, you sue because they're violating the fairness doctrine.
There's so many things we could sue on. There's so many issues we could sue on.
I'm just focusing on one.
I know. But the point just being is we need attorneys, all right? And we need attorneys for a lot of different issues that are going on. There's voter rolls and things of that nature that we know they're breaking the law. We know for a fact. It's not even a question.
You said you want to get the message out. Right. I'm advocating a way that will get the message out.
Right, but we can, yes, the PSA, but again, we would have 501c4, okay, which is different than 501c3, or a PAC. Now, we can't advocate for a specific position. Okay, we can't advocate for a specific position. So what you're saying with PSA, to bring out the message, we would be trying, what our goal would bring out the common sense contract with New York in the 7 pledges. These are the things that are affecting them. That brings us into the realm of supporting legislation.
Which
And-
you are allowed to do under the Fairness Doctrine.
Yes.
Yes.
You know, I'll look further into it. I'll definitely look further into it, you know, and
Thank you.
again, that may be a good way that we can do that and save us a lot of money, because we plan on spending quite a bit of dollars on this.
Thank you. I
okay, on
appreciate
common
your
sense
answer.
contract.
There's a lot of very notable New York politicians that are already state as well as federal elected. Someone like Lee Stefanik, they could push forward for a higher office as far as I'm concerned. And you have many suspected independents as well as even some Democrats that are still here that would definitely consider voting for.
These are, I wrote these
Yeah.
specifically with that in mind.
Yeah.
Democrats and independents.
Because, look, I mean, I don't know, you probably know this, what the party affiliation is with other aside from Dems and Republicans in New York State.
So there's an issue with it. So what's going on right now within members of the Republican Party in Queens, and I think also in Manhattan, they're running under a third line, which is called a common sense party. All right? And it's we're not allowed to have independents anymore. All right? Cuomo got rid of that. You can't have an independent. However, you can run as an individual, and then what happens is you can call yourself anything you want. All right? So what they're doing is they're running and trying, but you have to go out and get signatures again. Now, typically for an assembly seat, you need 500 signatures for assembly seat and 1,000 for a Senate seat. As running in that category as an independent with your own name, you need 1,500 signatures as assemblyman and 3,000 as a state senator. It's all game. They just put this in place just to make it challenging to do it. I mean, you get 1,500 signatures, that's a job. That's a job.
Speaker last week, Kara, what was her name? She was complaining about how she needed to run for...
Kara?
Yeah.
Kara was here last week?
Yeah, she's
Well, we interviewed her on this.
Oh, Kara, that's
she's
right.
saying in order to run for the Senate, for the U.S. Senate,
Yep.
she needs, what, 50,000 and 5,000 from each district or something? Or county?
Well, from 10 districts, she needed a minimum of 10,000 from each
It's
district.
insane.
And it's insane, but what we did for her, you know, because we were working with her, I supplied her, see, I got some great technology behind me, all right? And we got all the voter rolls for New York State that were published in February. And what I do, I got my data guys, we are able then to give a list of what we call walk books, familiar with walk books, with every Republican that voted in 20, 21, 22, and 23. Okay, so we know the active voters. So I was able to supply that for Kara. I gave her 7 congressional districts to give her the lists. All right, but we did that for individual candidates too. I gave lists out to 15 different assembly candidates and Senate candidates, where I gave them the specific list of active voters. And that's a big thing, because the hardest part, anybody that runs, they'll tell you, the hardest part is getting signatures. And when you get the books from this county, those are terrible. They have people that died 10 years ago still on there, and you're knocking on their door trying to get their signature. They haven't lived there.
How's this for a proposal? Instead of ranked choice voting, we have ranked choice signatures where you check a box and say, if my candidate fails to make the ballot, take my signature and put it up to the next guy who will make the ballot.
I don't think
I don't like that idea.
I don't think that
Because
would work.
maybe I don't like the next guy.
Well, the whole thing with ranked choice voting,
It's
that's
ridiculous.
I think
ridiculous.
so,
That's
too.
absurd. I mean, we have to stop
But I'm
that.
just saying, it would
Yeah, I understand what you're...
better if we have it in the signature signing
As
thing,
opposed to the-
rather than the actual voting.
Right.
No, I just want to say regarding all these items, I mean, I agree with all of them. The thing is that I wouldn't agree with all the phrasing, because in some cases, I don't think they go far enough.
Well, again, all right, and I failed for saying this. This is written to be said in 2 minutes and 30 seconds. All right, I could, yeah. So I also supplied to all the candidates, I supplied talking points on each of the pledges, which gets deeper to the point that you're making. There's so many issues on each one of these that you could address.
I mean, for instance, I would get rid of executive orders completely, because they just turned our governor into a king, making
Right.
edicts that are, not
Ridiculous,
constitutional.
ridiculous, I know. It is, so that's how we, again, that's how I have to do this. So you figure an opening statement at a debate, is usually 2.5 to 3 minutes.
Did Kara get knocked off, I heard?
So Kara's still in court, okay, still in court. Huh?
Kara lost her court case.
She lost it,
I don't
she's
know if
appealing
she's
it
gonna
up
appeal
to,
it or what, but
She's gonna
right
appeal
now
it.
it's between Jock Eisen and.
He dropped out.
separate-
He dropped out.
She complained that she was fighting against the RNC. Even the RNC in New York was.
okay, so the RNC, all right, a little backstory on it, what happened, all right, let you guys in on this story, I don't know if she said it to you. What happened was Trump did not know, he was like Kara a lot. He did not know that she was running, all right? The GOP Cox, when he went down to Mar-a-Lago, failed to mention that Kara wanted to run. That's how Trump gave his endorsement, because he did not know Kara wanted to run. So now Kara was down there, she went down to Mar-a-Lago, and, you know, like Trump's people said, you know, we can't turn around and pull back our endorsement now. You know, we can't, but the game that was played, and it was partially Kara's fault too. I mean, she did not contact also, the way it works is you have 62 county chairs around the state, and they're the ones that then vote on who are going to be the candidates, that are going to be the endorsed candidates. And Kara did not contact all 62 before, till like 2 days actually, some of them, before the vote up in Binghamton. That was, you know, a little mistake on her part, but that was one of the reasons. And then, again, a little more backstory, Cox went after every county chair that was supporting Kara and read them the riot act. There's things that are going on in the Republican Party.
Not good.
Awful, absolutely awful, absolutely awful.
Very petty stuff.
And petty stuff. I mean, between clubs, and I'll tell you better than anybody. I mean, it's unbelievable. And when I started getting deep into it, and I'm like, really, you're not talking to this one, you're not
I
talking
would
to
read
this
them
one.
the riot acts and say, look how the organized the left is and how they stick together.
They're so.
The way they moved the Overton window in the last 60 or 70 years. A lot of people don't realize that. It's not only New York, it's a lot of it, it's crazy.
They have it down to a
They
science.
moved the Overton window.
So, having Laura Trump in there now is a good thing. I think it's a very good thing. They've raised over $200 million already, the RNC, where they were down.
I see now they're doing stuff online instead of TV and radio.
Crazy.
TV and radio was
I
about
get
60 years ago.
texts, 5 texts a day. But, you sit there and look at that, they only had $17 million in.
Yeah, I was getting texts to go to Wildwood, but
Yeah.
I can't go there.
They only had $17 million in the bank account of the RNC.
It's a good thing that we have a Trump there as a co-chair in the RNC now, because under the old people, they were ignoring Chicago, ignoring LA, ignoring New York City, conceding the territory to the Democrats.
There's going to be a Trump rally or whatever, a get-together, where you want to call it, in the South Bronx on May 23rd.
I presume you're going to be there.
23rd, I don't know where the
What's the
location
venue?
is.
So like I said, I have 2 of my executive directors up at a meeting right at this moment, up in the Bronx, and it's going over the logistics. Or what it is. Yeah, Corona Park.
Corona.
Yeah.
No, Corona's, you mean Corona.
Was it Corona? Cortina Park? Cortina, C-O-R-T.
I hear the name, I'm like, okay.
Yeah, right.
Corona's laying around.
Yeah, Corona's what you call it.
Corona's.
Cortina Park, I think it is.
Corona's got us in trouble.
Yeah. But anyway, Thursday's gonna be a big day. And he's also gonna rent out Madison Square Garden, and I think if we show up in force on Thursday, that's gonna send quite a message. Yes.
I just want to ask you, do you think that Trump would be able to flip New York? I think so.
No, he would flip some districts.
When Glenn spoke about turnout, okay, so everybody gives the argument, it's 10-1 registered Democrats over Republicans, okay, in the city. But when you only get 14, 15, 20% turnout for the Democrats, that 10-1 now doesn't come into play.
Right.
All right, because you've knocked the numbers right out, because they don't come out and vote the Democrats because they're not happy.
And also, a lot of people are registered Democrats because otherwise,
Just mention that before.
because of the primaries.
Yes.
Because otherwise you don't get, because there's hardly anybody runs on the Republican side in the
Right.
primaries, so.
The right strategy, I think, in Illinois, Colorado, California, highly populated states, as far as I'm concerned, and New York State, is you target areas that are 51, 52, 48,